Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. Epilogue. In a month, we were married. For the ceremony, I wore my first new gown in a year and mother's necklace, which I reclaimed from Hattie. After my deception had been explained to them, King Gerald and Queen Daria welcomed me joyously into the royal family. My stepfamily was not invited to the wedding and had to celebrate, if they wished, in the streets with the rest of Frel. Father was invited, but he was traveling and didn't receive the invitation until it was too late. Oreda did attend. We renewed our friendship and swore to visit each other often, an oath we've kept faithfully. All the exotic peoples, except ogres, were represented at the ceremony. Slannon gave us a new pottery piece by Agulon, an elf child embracing a tree. Zataf and Zolf were there, Zolf still a toddler, since gnomes grow more slowly than humans. Euaxi came too, and was responsible for keeping our animal guest, Apple, from galloping the length of the palace hall. Although we didn't invite Lucinda, she arrived anyway, with a gift.
No need.
Char and I chimed together.
Remember when you were a squirrel?
Mandy said. But the gift was what Father would have called a fairy trifle. It was a box, no larger than my thumbnail, which grew or shrank to accommodate whatever it was called upon to hold. Wonderfully useful and not harmful at all. We thanked Lucinda enthusiastically until she glowed with pleasure. In time, Hattie became reconciled to our marriage and used her connection to us to her best advantage. She never married, but Olive did. A garrulous widower fell in love with her unwavering attention. When she'd demand that he talk to her, he'd tell her about his triumphs, his enemies, his opinions on everything. She wasn't anxious to wed. In exchange for her consent, he paid her 20 kJs every day and served a white cake with every meal. Father and Mum Olga continued to love at a distance. After my marriage, he became successful again, trading on the respect commanded by the royal family. Char watched over him and intervened when necessary to save him or his victims from the consequences of his chicanery. Mandy lived with us as cook and godmother to our children, and secret performer of small magic to protect us from colds, broken crockery, and the sundry inconveniences of a royal household. Nancy lived at the palace too, and commanded a legion of servants, several of whom were in charge of polishing stair rails for their sliding monarchs. I refused to become a princess, but adopted the titles of court linguist and cook's helper. I also refused to stay at home when Char traveled, and learned every language and dialect that came our way. When we left the children behind, my magic book kept us informed of their doings. Decisions were a delight after the curse. I loved having the power to say yes or no, and refusing anything was a special pleasure. My contrariness kept Char laughing, and his goodness kept me in love. And so, with laughter and with love, we lived happily ever after.